mute is off, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and hi! Welcome to G3. I'm your host, Tina Chase Gilmore. Today is January 22nd, 2015. Sometimes I forget the year, quite frankly. And this is episode 31. So I'm glad you found us. A little housekeeping. We have a Facebook page at facebook.com/G3show. And we usually post our chat there, not in Facebook, but you can find the link to it there. And we'd love to have you in the chat. We're trying to revive that. So please check it out if you can. So we have a pretty jam-packed show today. A lot of things have been catching my attention this week. Microsoft being one of them. Everyone's going to go, but yawn, says Steve. But says me. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce to you my co-hosts today. One of which we keep losing. But, you know, that's the way things go. All right, so here we go. Up in my upper left from sunny Southern California is Denise Howell. Hi, Denise.
Hey, Tina. Good to see you again.
We don't see you enough. Thanks for being here. You had a power failure just before.
I did.
But you made it back.
Yay. So fingers crossed, everyone.
Fingers
the power
crossed. Up in my upper right is Mr. Dave Sifry. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how are you, Tina?
New to G3. This is like we're on a roll here. We had our first man ever on the show last time we broadcast, and week number 2 we've got Dave Sifry. Wow. So in my lower right is Hallie Suit Tucker. Hi, Hallie, from cold Boston.
Oh no, I'm like dressed for Cuba today. I'm having like
Havana?
a lot of Cuba thoughts.
Havana's calling.
It is, but it's 38 degrees here in Cuba. So
I see. Mentally, you're warm.
I'm trying. Yeah, but anyway.
Okay. Lovely. So, and hopefully we'll get Mary back. I'm gonna secretly do that in a second. So let's see what has been interesting to you all this week. Anything sort of catching your eye and making you think? Don't all raise your hands at once. Yes, Miss Hallie.
I'm lowering my hand.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you quickly, I just wrote a piece for the Globe about the Zuckerberg's book club, where he quickly, when he introduced, this is one of his resolutions, that he wants to read more books in 2015. And so he put down a site up. You can join on Facebook. It better be a Facebook group, right? It's his thing. So it is called A Year of Books. And the first book he wanted us to read in 2 weeks was 320 pages. Now, the second book, we get maybe a little more time, but it's 850 pages.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Mary's here. Anyway, he had 150 comments on the day he did the book club, and there were apparently 200,000 likes for this page. But I get the feeling nobody's reading this book or has time to read this book. So I don't know if you guys, are you reading Zuckerberg's books?
Well, I heard that a lot of people actually ended up buying it. So Amazon actually went out of stock on the book very quickly. Yeah. But, you know, listen, with all these Facebook posts going on, when are you going to get a chance to read an actual book?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm in a book club, and we do one a month.
Demanding all of our attention all of the time. Like, how are you actually supposed to sit down and actually get something that you want to get done, right? Like, read a book.
Exactly. That was my feeling. Denise, what were you saying?
Our book club does one a month, and some people don't finish the one. So I think that's about the right speed for today's busy life.
Mary, are you reading an 800-page book this week?
Wake up, girl.
Am I reading the book? No, I'm actually in another book group, and I just downloaded the Kindle version for it, and I have to read it in 2 weeks because they sent it out a month ago, but I was busy.
Exactly.
I'm totally impressed with everybody having time to read, quite frankly. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty infrequent, I've got to say. I'm not proud, mind you, but it's pretty infrequent that I get to actually pick up a book and devour it. And I love it when I do. But I think the last book I read was just, totally for pleasure, was on our cruise this summer. And it was a joy to do, but I don't get a real chance to do it. This
you do audiobooks
this summer,
ever,
like it was
Tina?
2 weeks ago. It wasn't. It was like 6 months ago. So bad.
This is actually my second book group that's for reading more tech or like work kinds of books.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a book group that went on for several years with Jerry Mikulski and a few other folks who we looked at networks and virality like in the natural world. So we would look at patterns of where populations of like ants would explode and then die, and how does that all work and what are the mechanisms? And then we tried to apply it to technology. And this was in
We explode and die?
the population explodes and then it dies back. That happens in nature. And so we were looking at stuff like that, and we were in that group for 3 or 4 years. And then this group, the book that we're reading is Atul Gawande's Being Mortal Medicine and What Matters in the End. And so it's
I've heard great things about that book.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to read it. I literally just downloaded the Kindle, so I'll probably start it this weekend. But I mean, so this book group reads, I think, more nonfiction than fiction. And, it's more, it's the kind of stuff that you want to read anyway that applies in some extended way to, the work that we all do. So.
I found the one interesting thing is both books that Zuckerberg has picked, neither is about technology. They're about, the first one was The End of Power, about how power has shifted from traditional governments and institutions, and that there's more and more anarchistic and terrorists and other types of power that are changing the world. And this most recent one is about it's Steven Pinker's book, and it's about that there's less and less violence in the world, and that we do think we're at risk all the time, but compared to a long term, and he's talking since way back, like the Middle Ages, that there's much less violence. Many fewer people are punished. There's not kings saying cut off their heads. So that's the new book. And neither book, though, is technology. So I'm like, why is he picking these books? I'm wondering. But
maybe a step outside of technology a bit, or maybe just to, compare our lives to that sort of environment. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to be Oprah.
I love all these suggestions from the Independent UK of things that Zuckerberg should put on his list, including The Circle, You Are Not a Gadget by Jared Lanier, Microsurfs by Douglas Coupland. That one's going back a ways. I remember reading that and loving it. Walden and 1984.
excellent.
Yes.
Well, my one other question about the book group, and then we could just stop this, is this the new have-not problem? Who has 2 weeks to read 850 pages, and if his employees said, oh, we're just going to take some days off and read, he'd fire them. So, like, what was he kidding?
No, Hallie, this is actually a business opportunity for Cliff Notes.
Exactly. But now there's Spark Notes, by the way. Have to
Spark.
update.
There you go.
It's Spark, because we did Cliff Notes. My son is like, Mom, that's like Spark Notes. Is that what you're talking about? So I don't even say the right word for like the cheat guides anymore. Wrong generation, I guess. So anyway.
No, I tell you how you do it, whether you're a Facebook employee or otherwise, is the audiobooks, which fit into the times of your life when you're not sitting able to read a book. When you're driving around, when you're working out.
I don't have a car. I don't drive. So, but on the bus.
Right, exactly. When you're going from point A to B.
The other thing is I read way faster on the Kindle. I mean, I read at double speed on the Kindle. So for me, the thought of reading an 800-page book on paper is a little scary, but reading it on the Kindle. Also, the Kindle is lit up. You know, you can like read in the dark. I mean, it's kind of nice.
Do you have the new Voyage, Mary?
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
So,
I really like it. Like I
new-
had, because I had
no.
one of the, well, I used to use like a Nexus 7 and, you know, that I
Mm-hmm.
would read on my iPad and stuff like that. But actually getting the e-ink with that good backlight and a good
Mm-hmm.
touch screen, like has actually made a huge difference for me in terms of
Yeah.
like just the comfort
Mm-hmm.
being able to
But
read.
you know, it's really all about who you sleep with, because
That's what
Oh,
everything's all about, right?
Like, yeah, you know,
the paperweight doesn't make a lot of brightness, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and start reading. I read a lot, but the Kindle Fire that like shows a lot of light, it's going to wake somebody up. So I can't. If I'm, you know, if it's snoring night and Jay's, I give him the room and I go somewhere else, I'll read with a bright one. But this one, they say more and more, just paperweight with not a lot of brightness is better for you. Also, if you read in the middle of the night and want to go back to sleep.
they also say it causes less eye strain as well.
Yeah. So.
Well, riveting, since we don't have time to read.
And we weren't even supposed to talk about that. Sorry. Okay. We'll shut up.
But let you know, something that was, I think, sort of interesting is you know, we saw the State of the Union, or some of us did. I saw actually only a piece of it. I was at the health club when the State of the Union was going on, and I was it was packed in there. There was hardly, you know, any treadmill or elliptical or anything open, and most of them all are rigged up with the club audio, and you know, lots of screens everywhere.
Right.
And I don't know, there must have been I'd say 70 people, you know, in this room, maybe a little less. I think I was the only one watching the State of the Union. It was kind of
that's
pitiful.
what I wanted to ask.
Pitiful.
I think we should all talk. I watch Lilyhammer because I love Steve Van Zandt instead of the State of the Union.
But my point of getting to the State of the Union was that our government released the address on Medium, which I thought was kind of interesting. Not just on blah, blah, blah.gov, but threw it out there on Medium. What do you think about that?
Well, they did it on, you know, they did it on Twitter, they did it on Facebook. I mean, you know, boy, when blogs were, you know, the big thing, they put it on their blog. Like, you know, hey, anything to get people to actually read the thing and comment on it and talk about it, you know. So whatever it is that's next, they'll use it. I'm surprised they didn't release it on Tumblr.
Go to where the people are.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at least it's an acknowledgement of that, you know, they kind of know what's going on.
Somebody
I
over
think.
there does.
That's it? Nothing else? Okay. Let's
I mean,
move
you
on.
guys look
Let's
at-
move on. Okay.
Enough of that. No, you guys watch it? Did you watch it live?
No,
Because I
I
watched
didn't
it
have
later.
time. I was
I
working.
listened to it on the radio, which
Yeah.
was far more exciting. He has a great voice.
I
But,
like him and I like his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I was
read
thinking
an
of watching it this weekend.
Australian newspaper's summary of the tech policy points from the speech. That's it.
Oh. Well, do tell.
Net
Gotcha.
neutrality, which is heating up this week.
I
and
did
in
hear
the
him
coming
talk
month.
this. Apparently, right now he's in Idaho, and so he's like stumping for some of the points in the speech. And he talked about the estate tax. So apparently, the only people who pay estate tax are in the top 1%. You have to have more than $11 million in assets to then have your estate have to pay some taxes. And yet 65% of Americans are convinced that they might be in that, and therefore they're very angrily against any estate tax. And it's really interesting. So he was out there stumping for this, and it was actually a great speech. I mean, I was just hearing it on the radio, but he says, you know, I lost Idaho twice, but, you know, I still love you, and that's why I'm here, you know, which I thought was cool. He's like, look, we have one America. Just because you didn't vote for me doesn't mean I don't represent you, which is the way it's supposed to be, you know. But I don't know too many Republicans that actually think that way, you know.
Ooh.
Well, the Fox conservative Republicans who are in office are pretty much, if you didn't vote for me and you don't
Screw
follow the
you.
party line across, yeah, they're pretty much like, screw you, we don't really care
You're
if,
invisible. We don't care.
you're invisible, we don't care. And that, I think, is the wrong approach. They should represent us too.
Yep.
I like, this aspirational aspect of Americans assuming they're going to become millionaires is a very important thing, and it's a really big important thing. It's the underpinning of a lot of the tech scenario and all the tech startup entrepreneurial blah blah blah, that you're going to become a millionaire. Just work your ass off endlessly. And, freeze your eggs, girls, and just wait a lifetime, and then maybe you'll be a millionaire. And I think we all know most people, even in tech, do not become millionaires, right? So it's one of those.
If you buy a house in the Bay Area, you will automatically become a millionaire if you hold on to it. So
yeah, who can do that now?
But because it's so expensive to live here, having that house doesn't mean you can really afford everything. Everybody's working like crazy, and it doesn't guarantee anything, but it does technically put you in the millionaire category.
Sure, but what's fascinating about this is really the psychology of why 57% of people agree with abolishing this tax, even though literally less than 1% of them will actually be affected by it. And there's some books that have been written about this, but I think the really fascinating part about it is the psychology. And it's not that, for example, that I'm going to get so rich, I'm going to become one of the 1%. I actually think there's some relative out there somewheres who's gonna leave me some real monies in my will.
I think that's true, but that's even more
Dave Sifry does his best hick Southern impression. I love it.
It's that tax, right? It's the person who receives it. It's not the person who dies.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be asking yourself, this isn't so much about the 1% who obviously care about this and therefore have spent a ton of money, have done a great job at framing the issue around freedom and taxation and, the tax man, the IRS standing right next to the grave digger and all of that. Instead, you need to be thinking about this in terms of the aspiration of someday my prince will come. That this is something that we have a deep fantasy about, that, someone's going to come out there and actually Aunt Annie, who was always, saving her money, is now all of a sudden going to leave me some huge fortune, and then I'll have to pay taxes on it.
So is this the case of then I'll be ready? Like, if something like that should happen to me, then we've got to make sure that everything's set up to my best advantage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they
interesting
gave
take on
a
it.
really interesting economic example. So they said, okay, so you have one of those rescuers who are going to fulfill your fantasies, right? Your Uncle Jack, right? Your long lost Uncle Jack. And Uncle Jack never had any kids, and he put $1 million into some bond. And over the course of his 40 years between the time that he did it and then he died, it became worth $100 million. So now you're in that 1% if you're inheriting that. And then, of course, the fantasy is you're the only one inheriting that, which if he doesn't have any kids and there's a bunch of nieces and nephews, you're going to be splitting it up. But anyway, so then the fantasy is that, not only do you inherit, and so that your new basis is $100 million if you don't sell it, but on top of that there's no estate taxes due. And that's the fantasy.
So there's no capital gains for one, and then there's hopefully there's no estate tax, right?
Right. That's right.
My theory is that if someone gives me a whole lot of money, I'm really happy to pay the tax on it if I could have a whole lot of money just dumped in my lap. So.
Well, that's the interesting thing is when people pay taxes and all the grousing that you hear, it also means that they made money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you did get or make some money. And, that's an interesting, so you made a lot more and then you paid a percentage.
Sure, but there's this classic psychological aversion to loss. So in the product world, like you actually can take advantage of this where, people will do a lot more for loss avoidance or loss aversion than for potential gain. So if you get somebody to sign up for something and they are willing to pay $10 a week if they don't do something, that's loss aversion. And that's actually much stronger than saying, if you do something, I'll give you $10.
And this is the same product. A friend of mine who's an entrepreneur did a product where this is packed. Do you know this? Where you say you will or won't go to the gym X number of days in the week. Have you guys used this?
That's exactly what they do. They were researchers in loss aversion. In fact, the CEO of that company, who's out here in San Francisco, and she and her partner totally built that entire thing on loss aversion.
And they were at TechStars with me, and that was Yi Fan. She's a Chinese woman. It's YIFAN, and it's very ironic. So you say you're going to go to the gym for 3 days, and you don't. You have to pay into a pool, and is this the right thing? Yeah.
Then you actually get a percentage of the money that the people who didn't get, right? Or the people who failed. And so you really, one of our friends, David Hornick, just posted a public challenge where he wants to lose weight, and he's going to pay, if he doesn't lose whatever the weight, he's going to pay $1,000 to the Ted Cruz for President campaign.
Okay. Wow. That's real loss aversion.
Yeah.
And Ted Cruz looked like he was dead in that video. What was that video? That was there is some really weird GOP video.
The psychology of this is a really good thing. Chances are very strong that you will actually succeed in your goals.
It's great. It always sounded a little negative.
Fortunately, as human beings, we are much more afraid of losing what we have than of getting something new.
I'm worried.
It speaks to the way that we're wired, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just, it's not a learned thing, I don't think. Do you think?
Hey, Mary, is Mary having an earthquake at her house only?
I think Mary's got her laptop on her knees.
What happened?
And the cat is in the middle of having an oncology treatment.
Okay.
I met with the oncologist. I met with the cardiologist. We had tons of tests, and now he's getting electrochemotherapy. So I'm hanging out, working while this happens. Yes.
Before you all think that it's about Mary, it's about her cat.
Okay.
Remember when we had one of these, and it was in the fall, and I showed you the Franken kitty with the great big zipper scar thingy with all the sutures.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Now that cat's getting, yeah. So I apologize. It's really hard to keep my laptop stable and up so that.
Well, we'll probably just go to the shot when you talk because it makes us less woozy.
Hey, I want to hear an elevator pitch from that Sifri guy. What's he cooking up?
Yeah.
I do
what
too.
What are you doing? Let's hear.
Little me.
Well, Dave Sifri, a few days ago, when a few of us were in Napa celebrating our friend Robert Scoble's birthday, and on the way from Sullivan's Vineyard to City Winery, Dave and I were in the back seat of a car. Someone was driving us from here to there, and whips it out, as it were,
good.
and shows me this app, and it's kind of interesting. And Dave, did you have fun in Napa? And tell us about Handle.
I had a ton of fun in Napa, and just sitting in the back of that car, snuggling with you, Tina, and with Steve in the front. I mean, wow, that made my evening. And so we actually just launched today. So this is my new company. I've been working at this now for 13 months, and we just launched on the App Store and on the web and as a Chrome extension. And really, at the heart of it, the problem that I had and we really set out to solve was this problem where email makes an absolutely horrible to-do list. And I was living, I just, I literally get 1,000 emails a day. I'm sure, you guys as well, across 4 different accounts. And, you're just sitting and being reactive to it, and then stuff just falls through the cracks. And anything that I try to do about it, like I tried making to-do lists, I tried sticky notes, I tried sending emails to myself, I tried doing, all of these things, and they all just suck.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really sat down, and in fact, the CEO of the company, a guy named Sean Carolyn, he was a partner at Menlo Ventures, and he was the original investor in Siri when they came out of SRI, and saw like what happens when you actually just add context to all of this, and went around with a big checkbook looking for companies to fund, and he couldn't find one, and he said, you know what, like I can't stop thinking about this, I need to go out and build this, right? Like we have to solve this problem. Like there is literally 1 billion people on the planet who spend 13 or more hours a week, each week, being reactive in their inboxes, right? And so we set out and we started looking at this, and we realized, oh, well, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a productivity system. It's the only productivity system that actually combines your email with your to-do list and your calendar. And it brings it all together. And the biggest difference is, and we've been beta testing this with a few hundred people in a closed beta, is we've seen people go from spending 13 or 20 hours a week being reactive in their inbox to literally 6 to 10, right? So it literally increases their productivity or cuts that time being reactive in half. And so you're able to get 7 to 10 extra hours a week to be proactive in actually doing the stuff that you want to do, instead of having to be constantly churning and keeping an eye on email all the time.
Sounds good. How much?
It's free, Hallie.
Free. Free is good.
Like here, you want to see? I'll show you a quick demo if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do C.
So let's see. Can you guys see?
We're seeing white. Okay. As you turn it, and as you get it centered, we can see more. Go. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna hold it like this. Boy, this is hard.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So this is my inbox. Okay. You look. We call this the handle timeline. Mm-hmm. It looks kind of like a to-do list, right? So like there's some stuff in here that's past due, right? Mm-hmm. There's here's that calendar appointment. Like these things up on top, we say that these are the things that are in context right now. Because like this calendar appointment to be on G3, like this is the most important thing that I need to be doing today. Right at this moment. Here we go.
We rise to the top, baby.
Do we get it? You guys do?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then, like there's other stuff in here, like these, you'll notice these are just my to-dos, right? But, oops.
Whoop, your screen just went off. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, come on back.
There you go. Yep,
right.
That's good. Right there.
So, like, I've got, right here in this top to-do, the email that is associated with the to-do is actually
right there.
Attached to the to-do. Oh, my God. Oh. And so, and then you can read it and you can reply to it. You can do all of this stuff. And then when you're done, boom, you can check it off. So I don't have to live in my inbox just marking things unread or, flagging things or what have you. And then the next step here is, like, how do I actually get stuff in? And so we actually built a fully functional email client directly into the app itself. So right now it works specifically, it's optimized for Gmail or Google Apps for Business. And, we'll come out with more as time goes on. But like, you'll see, okay, here's something from Club Med. I don't care about that, right? So I can just swipe.
Ooh.
And right there, I can delete it. I can archive it, whatever. So here, I don't care about it. I could just archive it. Sorry, Club Med. Okay. So, or, here's something like, this is actually kind of interesting, but I don't have time to read it right now. So I can actually say read later. Right? And then what it actually does is it goes and it puts a label on it called handle read later. And by the way, if I go back to my timeline and I scroll down here to the bottom, right? I don't know if you can see that, but here's my little read later.
Yep.
So this is my little reward that when I finish the things that are in my to-do list, or if, I'm on the bus, I can tap on read later, and there's that, there's those emails that I can now go in and I can actually just read them at my leisure. And then, but to actually get here, so let's say there's something that I actually need to create a to-do for. Oh, come on back. Okay. So, here's one from one of my designers. Right, this is important. So I'm going to want to create a to-do. I swipe this way. Can you guys see that? So
Yeah.
I can right here, I can do all of the things that actually are the actions that I care about. I want to create a to-do. I can say, look, remind me later. So, it's something important, but maybe I don't really care about it until next week, but I don't want to lose it. Like, this is the classic of, hey, I just want, I don't want to deal with it right now, but just tell me later. Or if it's a calendar appointment, so we can also add it to my calendar. So let's just I'll make that into a to-do. And boom, like there it is. Oh, isn't that nice? Right, and I can type in whatever it is that I want to type in. And like we also have, all the nice things that you would expect out of a to-do list. I can add a due date, I can add it to projects, but the other really fun part here is like I can add a reminder. So, either later today or, whenever I can get reminded. But there's one other thing that we can do. So let's say, for example, it's a to-do that I really need to do at home, right? So I need to talk to my family about, my kid's school or something, right? And it's something that came through. So then we have geofencing, so we have location-based reminders too. And so I can say, you know what, I only want this to show up when I actually get home. Boom, right? And then I say, done. And now, literally, when I get within 50 yards of my house, I'll get a notification from the phone. It'll actually show up on my to-do list. And then it's like, right, I got to remember to take action on these things. And lastly, there's a whole desktop component so that when I'm actually at my desk, I can, get into this. I can, do it. I can prioritize things. And then, of course, last part is, here's my calendar, right? So if you think of your emails as the to-do list that other people have for you, they're the to-dos that other people want you to do. And my to-do list is the stuff I want to do. This is important. And then my calendar is the available time that I have to do it. This allows me to very quickly be able to say, okay, hey, this is an appointment that I need to be able to make. It's a dinner reservation, what have you. So I can pick the time that I want it to be, right? And boom, here it comes. I can create the appointment, save, right? And that's literally a 3-tap action. And that's, that's the idea. Like, take me out of this world where like I'm sitting around worrying and looking at my inbox constantly. And instead, all I really have to do is just go to the top of my timeline here, the handle timeline, and it tells me exactly, well, here are the set of things that you need to do next today, Dave, and in order to actually get things done.
So can I make 2 comments?
Please, Hallie.
One is, I think you solved the problem of the fact, you said no. Wait a minute. You solved the fact that email never, ever really went mobile very well.
Right.
Do you guys agree with that?
Well, let me put it this way. There's a lot of people who think that email is going away. And all of the facts indicate otherwise. That is a fantasy. So the issue here is not how do we get rid of email or how do we make email a little bit more beautiful. It's like, how do we embrace and extend email so that in the ways that we are living today, where, my mobile phone is, it's just like, it's a pain in the butt to be able to take an address and then I got to cut and paste and I'll figure it all out. And then I got to switch to another app because it's like the calendar and then I got to type everything in again. Like, give me a break, right? It's work about work. And that is incredibly annoying.
And then my second point is, do you like TripIt? Because I think TripIt is in the space of please just put the stuff I need to fly, to travel, to take the cab in one place, please. So
I couldn't agree more. I think that people like TripIt and other folks who are doing more artificial intelligence type activities where they're trying to, organize, ooh, gee, this looks just like a reservation for a hotel. Let's just put that in for you.
Right.
Those guys are fabulous, and we're going to work with them. But there really is still no artificial intelligence that's going to help me prioritize between, do I go to my daughter's play or do I go to an important business meeting?
Right.
Dave, I have a question.
Yes.
If you're using Gmail and you're using priority inbox, does that get lost if you're using Handle?
So for now it does. We, until very recently, and this is a little bit of a technology nerd topic, so Google did not have the APIs to allow us to be able to figure out what is actually in your priority inbox or not. They recently released that, and they made that available just a few months ago. So that's absolutely on our roadmap, Denise.
Right.
But as it stands right now, you'll still be able to see your entire inbox. It's just going to look a little bit more cluttered until we are able to get those APIs built in.
Yeah, that sounds like the only thing I'd miss about my current email experience from what you're describing.
Well, you know what? Like,
shared calendar?
It takes a little while to get used to it because you're really switching 3 different applications and now you're making them one. And so there's a little bit of learning and retraining the fingers. But what I've found is that, I live my life out of this thing now. And it has totally not only saved me a ton of time. Like, you ever have those days where you know that you're busy? Like, you've been running and running and running. And then you come home and you're like, I got nothing done.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those days are fewer and fewer. And, then you have some days where you're like, oh my God, like I was a total goof, but I got this one really important thing done. And now I feel great because I got it done. Like, those kinds of days are growing more and more for me. So don't tell anyone, right? Because the minute that they find out, they're going to want to throw more stuff on my plate.
Right, you have more time.
Yeah.
So,
and that's really what it's
Dave,
all about. Like, our attention is the most scarce resource that we have. And literally, there are multiple billion-dollar companies, Facebook, Twitter, Medium, like all these guys that are like, it is their job to interrupt us. It is their job to come out there and like say, "Ooh, look, something neat. Stop doing what you're doing and look at this pretty picture or kitten videos." And like, there is no company until today that really is there to say, we stand for you and the things that you want to get done. And we're actually here to act as your shield or your suit of armor to let you turn that stuff off and stop being quite as reactive and to be more proactive in terms of getting more things done.
Mary, you had a question?
Yeah. So I actually have a couple questions. One is, I was wondering if you could do shared to-do lists, like if you could cluster around a project and have other Handle users share a to-do list and prioritize with you. And then can you do the shared calendar thing? Because when I open my calendar in the Mac, I have 50 calendars that I'm looking at. 10 of them are mine and the others are other people and projects. And, so how does that work?
So shared calendars are right in there. We actually integrate directly with the calendars that you have on your iOS device or any of the Google calendars that you currently have listed. So if people have shared calendars with you, you can view it, you can view all of them, you can put things on those calendars, you can invite people to meetings directly from the app. All of that stuff is in there. Your question around collaboration is a really good one. And let's just say for right now, Mary, we really wanted to make sure we nailed the individual use case first.
Okay.
And that is a very exciting set of opportunities, right? Because, and you think about business models, right? We're giving this away for free because we really want to, make sure that we're really helping people. Like, are we putting good into the world? Because God forbid you're actually doing something that causes more stress for people. Like, that's not what I want to do. And then the second piece is like, because this thing is, and it's not for people who like aren't busy. You know, if you get 5 emails a day, it's great. Like, go use Google Gmail Inbox or something like that. You know, those are like, go use Mac Mail. Like, these are perfectly good tools. But the cool thing that I do know is that nearly every single person I know who is really busy has a job. And like, you know, they then need to work with coworkers and they need to get things done. And you're like, you know, companies make money. So, you know, there's some interesting opportunities there. Let's just put it that way.
I gave a talk last night at Institute of the Future, and I was introduced as one of those 3 business card people because I actually have multiple things going, and keeping all those balls in the air is really hard. And this doesn't even count as one of those 3 business cards, right?
Like, I know, right?
This is the fun thing that we do every week.
Well, the fun's about to end. We only have 9 minutes.
No, and Mary, so again, and the goal here is, you know, you want to be able to have something that is not, oh, and here's job 1, and here's job 2, and here's job 3, here's personal, and here's business. It's like, this is your life. So, you know, you need a tool that's going to be able to take all of that and let you be able to organize it and stay proactive in your life. Because sometimes you're going to be more business oriented, and sometimes you're going to be, you know, more personal, or, you know, one or the other. And how do you actually, well, like, this is our motto, like we say, you know, it's your life. We help you handle it.
So
it seems, Dave, like Google left the door wide open for you on this one. They used to do a lot more tight integration between email and tasks and calendar, but that seemed to be an experiment they didn't stick with.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I love Google. I love Gmail. We work, you know, we built all of this stuff on top of the Gmail infrastructure and calendars, and they've done a ton of amazing stuff. Yeah, but I think that maybe it just hasn't been as much of a priority for them to focus on, you know, a person's entire life. I'm not sure.
I had a great chat yesterday with somebody who's doing they're trying to do like a home hub for all the data that revolves around the home and the to-do lists and all the stuff. And it seems like this would fit in well. They don't want to build the apps. They actually are building the thing that would be a personal data store kind of at home.
So well, we'd love to work with them. So, I mean, one of the other things, Mary, I mean, you know how I feel about data, right? So, like, is the first thing when I architected this with the team was we said, look, it's your data. And it's like the most important data you have in your life. So we're not creating silos. So, for example, like your calendars are stored in Google Calendar, right? And like if you open up your Google Calendar, you're going to see all that stuff that you didn't handle there. Your emails are stored on the email server. It works directly with, you know, the email server, like, you know, Gmail. And to-dos, which are really the only thing that's entirely new, like no one has actually created sort of a protocol around to-dos. So what we did there was we actually, you can just run it and it stays on the app. But if you want to be able to connect between the, you know, different devices or between, you know, your phone and the web so that you can use it on your desktop, is we actually store all of that in a special file inside of your own Dropbox. So it's all there, it's yours, and it's secure. And like literally there's no server for people to hack over on our side.
That's really smart.
So the point that I was going to make is we had this discussion where she was saying so it's a company full of women, of course. They're trying to solve the problem that women often have as the people who both often work and run everything at home, right? And she said they meet with VCs, and the VCs are like, well, what about the Internet of Things? Could we use this thing to like turn light switches on and off around the house? And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, I have 17 different giant files because you get a lot of paper. I just got the paper for the, you know, the vet, right? Like I have to go file this somewhere and stick it somewhere. And there's the billing and right. So there's 17 different files in my house that are for specific things. Each cat has one. Our medical records have one. There's all the personal, as you say, projects that come out and you need to-do lists. And then there's everything I'm doing at work, and I have multiple projects. And so when I counted up everything every to-do list that I would need, I needed 35 different potential topic areas within my to-do list to cover all this stuff. And I was like, screw the freaking light switch turning on and off feature. I need organization across all these different things, calendar, to-do list, email, and then all the stuff that comes with each of those projects, whether it's the cat's medical crap or, something that I'm doing for a client or the company that I'm chief product for. I mean, I've just got like all these roles in my life, and it's incredibly busy, and this helps me. Light switch flipping and Nest, I'm not that interested in. Right. I don't care. I don't know, whatever. I can turn on my own light switch.
And like someone says in our little chat room today, there's a certain amount of things that they used to be able to keep in their head, and they are completely unable to do that anymore. Yeah. And really need, this kind of tool. And some people are downloading the app right now, Dave, so they're trying it out.
You can downsize your pets. Don't forget.
Oh God!
Sorry, Dave. Oh. Inside joke. Because
Hallie, the pet hater. Jeez.
Unbelievable.
I think,
fire their asses. Get rid of them.
Oh no! There's a little dog on the floor. Here we are at the pet
they're going to give
hospital.
you love forever and ever. Yeah, don't you listen to Hallie.
No.
I hate those furry little things.
Hallie. All the people here at the pet hospital love our cat. They're like, he's so cute. He's one of those 6-toed cats. Every foot has 6 toes instead of 5.
No, I don't know that.
He's adorable.
Right. So again, I mean, Mary, like what you really need is you need something that's going to be able to help you to know, like, what's the next right thing to do.
Yes, totally.
And that's the design philosophy that we took at Handle.
And that's, so for me, like I already had started playing with it. And by the way, I have one little note on the Chrome download. It says, I took a little photo of it or a screenshot. Add Handle. It can read and change all your data on the websites you visit. And I was like, what? Oh no. Is it going to, like, when I visit some website where I'm logged in, is it going to like write a status update for me? Or what is it going to do?
No,
I figured that it wasn't, but
no, it's a great
It's a little
point.
scary. You should tweak
totally
that message.
Hey, it's day one of the public launch. What it means, Mary, is like that you could, for example, if you have the Handle extension open in Chrome, where most people use it is actually when they're in Gmail. And what this lets you do is when you actually open a to-do, you can immediately open that email up in Gmail and vice versa. So if you're actually looking at an email in Chrome itself, you can actually just hit the little plus button on the upper right, and it'll immediately attach that email to a brand new to-do. So in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to read data from the other frames in your browser. So it's not the nicest language, but really we don't do anything. It's your data. We don't want to mess with it.
So I do have to give you props for the cute orange H that's in the upper right-hand corner on my Chrome. I love orange, and it's like I look at the other icons that I have there, and I don't know what they are. That is like so clear and simple. I love it. It's super usable.
Yay!
Mary usually has an orange purse.
I do. Well, not in the winter. But my wallet and my cell phone and many other things are orange. I love orange. And so, it's good for that. But the best part about it is it's super usable because it's the H. It's like, oh, yeah, whereas all those other teeny little icons pack so much in, you can't even tell.
Dave Sifry, real quick, because we're gonna end.
It's so teeny, like the little elephant.
Whoops. Okay, that was just Mary's lag time there. She just caught up.
That was a ghost.
Sorry.
It was the ghost of Mary talking. Dave, I know that sometimes you wear multiple wearables on you that are giving you all kinds of information. So could you foresee that Handle might give us some sort of notifications on a wearable at some point?
That's a very interesting idea, Tina. We'll have to think about that closely. There might be some interesting wearables that are going to be coming out soon. Yeah. It's a very, very fascinating idea.
You can send me my paycheck tomorrow. Okay. Well, I was forewarned by all of y'all that you had to go at a 12, so I'm letting you go. But not before I say, Dave, the screen behind you, the whiteboard behind you, looks a little bit like something that Microsoft talked about yesterday called Surface Hub, which I think I would love to see. It's supposed to be a massive screen that you can interact with in a office situation, conferencey sort of situation. They're tying in camera, speakers, mic, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Skype, and it sounds really useful and interesting. And so I'm wondering if sometime that board behind you is going to be a Microsoft Surface Hub.
Well, they already have all these smart boards and stuff, right? I mean, not that I'm dissing Microsoft. I thought the Holo glasses, like that sounds incredibly cool. Like, you know, I want somebody to help me to install light switches and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. You know, I think it all comes down to how much it costs and how often I see a blue screen of Blackboard.
Yeah, well, Microsoft has not revealed how much that thing's going to cost, and I bet it's going to be a pretty penny. And the HoloLens looks mighty fine. And our friend Robert last week on our show told us that, you know, that was it for Xbox. You know, Xbox is over because all these virtual reality, you know, goggles and stuff are coming in. And, you know, HoloLens looks like it's a computer that you're wearing on your head and viewing, you know, with your eyes, you're viewing, you know, interactive 3D stuff.
Right,
and all I can say is Minecraft, watch out. Okay. All right. So we are winding up. Thank you. Hallie's barking.
Carol is barking.
No, she's quiet.
I think it's Mary.
Sorry, there's dogs and people talking all of a sudden, and there's now a baby crying. This is not a baby place. This is a pet place.
You need a jet overhead.
Anyway.
The barks, the meows, and the baby crying. Okay.
Yep.
So
All right.
that's what you get here in G3. You never know what you're going to get. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, chat room. We actually had a chat room today. Oh, so much fun. We're hoping to grow that. So please check in on our website and learn how to do that. We'll be transitioning to a different tool soon. As soon as we get that development done. And what do I get to say? Oh, yes. Thank you to Ustream. We use Ustream to stream and record live G3 and the Gilmore Gang every week. And thank you to NewTek and our fabulous TriCaster. Here it is. This is part of it. This is my interface of the TriCaster, my physical interface. It's lovely. I got to see Philip Nelson from NewTek at Robert Scoba's birthday and watch him perform on stage, which was so cool. He's my NewTek contact, and love you, Philip. And thank you to my lovely co-hosts today, Denise Howell, Mary Hodder, Hallie Sue Tucker, and Dave Sifry of Handle. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Dave. We really enjoyed looking at Handle. Wish you lots of luck. I can't believe you were here on your launch day with us. We feel so special and proud.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Tina. Great talking to all of you.
Okay, so this is the time that we all get to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, good.